Hello and welcome to today's lesson on data collection. This is going to be the first of a few videos showing you different ways of collecting data and how to put them into Excel documents. The first example that we're going to do is a kind of a standard design in biology where you have, for example, the effect of X on Y. So this could be something like the effect of pH on photosynthesis. You could have the effect of light intensity on photosynthesis, the effect of temperature on enzyme activity. In this kind of design, the data that you're looking for is like a pattern. So what you hope to have at the end of it is a line graph in essence. Whether your line graph is going to be linear, logarithmic, or exponential, in order to make that graph, you're going to have at least 5 values for our independent variable. I'm going to show you how to do this with a virtual lab because it generates data very quickly, but this is equally applicable in wet labs or hands-on labs as well. So the lab I'm going to use is germination. It's a fairly standard, easy lab to do, either as a wet lab or a virtual lab. And I'm going to have a look at the effect of temperature on germination. So here I'm going to keep everything else the same and I'm just going to change my temperature. You can see here that the range is from 0 to 38. I'm going to use from 0 to 35 and intervals of 5. So I'm going to end up with 8 values for my independent variable. Like I said, 5 is the least number, but if you can have more, if you have more time to do more, you're going to get a better line. So we start with putting our independent variable on the left-hand side. And we put our values down. You'll notice that when I'm putting my values down, I'm not putting any units in there. The units are going to go into the heading afterwards. Have I done that right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so that I will put the units in there, but for now I'm just putting out the data like this. So for each temperature that you choose, you need to repeat it. Repetition in size is incredibly important, and you need to have at least 3 repeats every time that you do an experiment for each value of your IV. Okay, sometimes you need more, but for something like this, 3 is the minimum. So we're going to have 3 repeats: R1, R2, R3. Okay. I haven't got a heading here, so anybody who's looking at this is probably going to wonder, what are these repeats? What is this about? So I'm going to insert a row there, okay? And I think it's going to be germination. Well, germination. In terms of let's have a look at the thing. It's going to be the number of sprouts. So in this experiment, let's just, what will happen, say, let's just have a look at it here. Over a certain amount of time, it's calculating, or seeds are going to germinate, and the number of sprouts are the ones that are germinated, the number of seeds are the ones that left over. So I'm interested in a number of sprouts. So that's our unit, if you will. So germination in terms of the number of sprouts out of 100. Because if we don't say that, then how do we know what that is? Now this is only in the first column. So if I want to merge that across the 3 different columns, I need to use a little button, and I have to use it at a default called Merge in Center. Okay, so now that title there, that heading, applies to all 3 of these. Very, very simple. Merge in Center for that heading. You can do similar thing here if you want to. You can merge and center that. Okay, right, let's start collecting some data. For ease of collection, I'm going to do the repeats at each temperature, and I'll fast forward through that. Okay, so the number of sprouts is 0. Let's just check that that is actually right. Does that make sense? It's still 0. And let's try it one more. Let's triple check. 0. Okay, so you're going to repeat that for each single temperature. So here's the data all ready for you to start processing and making graphs, but that will be covered in another lesson.